Good evening, Elijah. Long time.
Yes, so bro, nice to hear from you.
Nice to hear from you too.
Hello.
Yes, Elijah, we can hear you.
Yes, Elijah, we can hear you.
Jerry, I'm also getting a feedback effect. What you had complained about, I don't know what's happening.
And it's coming from your device. I'm
It's
wondering
coming
why
from your
that
device.
is happening.
That's serious.
Okay, so maybe you just try log off and join again. Let's see if that will be taken care of.
Barrister Amos, are you there? Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
The future Attorney General of the state
My brother.
and of the Federation at large.
Amen.
We'll get there. We'll get there, definitely.
By God's grace. By God's grace.
Yeah.
It's good to hear from you after a very long time. Yeah, Jerry, Jeremiah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what's up? Can you put a call through to the other panelists? Let's see how.
Yes, I'm reaching out now.
Okay, good.
If you find Jesus, you will find the precious treasure. In fact, you will find a good better than all good. And if you lose Jesus, and whom will you seek as a friend? Without a friend, you cannot live well. And if Jesus is not your friend above all, you will be very sad and desolate. You act, therefore, foolishly if you put your confidence in or rejoice with any of the others. Who are there to you? Let Jesus alone be your special friend.
Good evening once again, everyone. Welcome to the discussion. Rosemary,
Jesus Christ alone is the Lord of the special.
so please leave your mic to be muted. If you will speak, then you will unmute your mic and speak. Because at the moment, if you're not speaking, then it's interfering, right? So, right, okay, just to confirm that you can all hear me. Amos, Elijah, Thomas, just confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. All right. So, like we mentioned the last time, part of being accountable or part of really, really bringing about transformation is making sure you keep to time. I understand that people have a lot of things that they are busy with, but then one of the key skills that are required is to prioritize and always provide feedback in the case of whether you are not able to meet up with an appointment or an arrangement that is already on ground, right? So I think it's okay that we start. The best part of this podcast that we're having is to be able to put together thoughts and to be able to put together arguments, comments, some kind of feedback, really, really outline a roadmap for ourselves and the society, voice out what we are thinking, react to things that we see around, right? Because transformation comes when you can absorb and then think of it in a different way, push it out there and make sure you see that change happen, right? So I think we're here already. A few of us are here. It's enough for us to have this conversation. And we're going to have it on record and make sure we share on the possible social media platforms that are available so that people can always read and see that, okay, people are still thinking towards the future. People are bothered about how things are happening. Right? It's possible for someone to be doing a lot, but there is no plan. So you don't see where this is going. But I know of people who make plenty of money, but then they end up spending, they help people, but tomorrow they go broke, right? The worst part is even the things that they do, you don't see a sustainability plan. So it's crazy how we give kudos to people who work, but then we end up not seeing how that roadmap is leading to a positive future. So these are things that we have been able to really open up and hoping that we'll have enough conversations to be able to dissect these things. We may not have all in a day, but hopefully as we keep having these conversations, a lot of insights will be moving out, will be going out there. For the Transform Talk, we have our panelists that are leading these conversations, right? Thomas Uwe, who works with the banking system, who has a lot of experience around a lot of system building, financial management, marketing and all. Becky isn't here yet. Hopefully she joins. She's also one of the people who are working on transforming mindset in Benue. I made the introduction last time. Elijah Numba, of course, is a financial expert who also works in the public space where his expertise is really making a lot of waves there. Amos isn't here yet. Preston isn't here yet. And then we have Barrister Amos here, who is I call him the law, who we hope that his expertise in law and legal issues. He has been a public speaker. He had been a unionist way back. And I believe my first one of our encounters was those days where he was putting up some stuff together with NUT, and then we had to work together on a presentation. Yeah. So yeah, we have people who hopefully have been doing justice. The first episode they did justice to the topics we brought, and hoping that today they will do the same. Now, today we want to look into accountability, right? And then accountability, of course, where we are targeting is three key areas: governance, leadership, and followership. Now, in governance, accountability is the obligation of government officials and institutions to be able to be answerable for their actions and decisions. So it's not just about being responsible for something; it's about being answerable. It is possible that the person who is responsible for carrying out that task is not you, but you are answerable because you are the authority. So that is being accountable. A commissioner might be responsible for making sure that a particular project is done, or let's say a contractor. Yeah, a contractor is responsible for making sure that the road is constructed. But the commissioner the commissioner for that ministry who is given that contract is accountable if that happens or not. Just like in the office, you are the team leader. Your team, you assign tasks to them. Your team, they are responsible for the action, the activity, but you are held accountable should that not happen. And then in leadership is responsibility of leaders to justify their decisions, actions, and outcomes they produce, right? So, are you able to justify your decisions or actions, right? Decisions you take and you cannot justify. There are no yardstick for that to happen. You don't have the ethical compass. You don't have the ethical standard to stand for that, right? So you just do stuff, and if you're asked to justify, I mean, whatever it is that you're saying makes no sense, right? So this also has to do with transparency in communication and willingness to accept consequences for mistakes, right? That is being accountable. And then for followership, this is for individuals within an organization or community to support leaders while also holding them accountable. So you see that if we are really looking at the issue of accountability here, you discover that the followers have more work to do. There are two things, right? It is for you to your accountability has to show in your support for your leaders and also in your stand to hold them accountable, which is part of what we hope to achieve when we set up our accountability court, where we are bringing out scorecards for our public office holders, right? So not to bore you with a lot of that, having just said that piece, there will be some questions that we'll be responding to, and then hoping that that will also bring some kind of transform direction into what happens in our society, especially Benue State. Right. So we'll go into the question and answer with the panelists. No one else has joined, so I'm seeing that we still have Thomas. Just to be sure, we have Thomas here, we have Amos, we have Elijah. Right. So this is great. So let's have this conversation, guys, and then let's yeah. So looking at the first batch of questions, this is in two parts, right? So the first part is general accountability, and then the second part will be some responses to the just concluded LG elections, right? And then I will also find a way to look at some bits of news that we read some places and some sessions on the TV. So, in no particular order, I'll be asking these questions, right? So I think I'll start with Amos. I think Amos, if you would not mind to respond to the first question, which is, what does accountability mean to you in the context of societal transformation in Benue State? Barrister Amos, if you'd be kind to respond to this.
All right. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me again. Well, accountability to me is simply discharging of one's duties or the duties of one's office in accordance with the law or the laid down rules of that office, and with a sense of responsibility to serve. And With respect to Benue State or any other state or organization at all, you see, when we say somebody is accountable, there must be yardstick upon which somebody is expected to perform the duties of a particular office or a particular responsibility. And so the ability of that person to discharge those duties with a sense of responsibility to serve and to deliver on those duties for the good of that organization or in the public space for the good of the people who elected you into that office. And I think in recent times, if you look at the nature and the character of our leaders and people who are placed in positions of responsibility, whether elected or appointed, it seems as though they work for themselves, or at best, they work for their principal. A commissioner, once he's able to satisfy maybe the governor, it's peculiarly or narrow interest, doesn't really care about whether the ministry or that office is serving the general good. And an elected governor or office holder really they bother little about accountability. And when we talk about accountability, what are those guys? People go into office with manifesto. They go into offices with promises for the people. How are they able to achieve these promises? And how have they been able to tell the people that, okay, this is what I promised, this is what I'm able to deliver? Or these are the challenges of the people, and this is what we are doing to cushion or address these challenges. So to me, generally, it is just discharging one's duty with a sense of responsibility to serve and not for one's selfish interest. That's what accountability is to me.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yes, that's great. Wonderful presentation there. Okay, so I will move over to the next person, and yeah. So, all right. The next question will be for Thomas. The question is, I think we would like you to look at number 3. In what ways do you believe accountability can drive societal change? I like this question. Yeah, Thomas, if you would respond.
Yeah, Jerry, you went off.
No, I didn't go off. Okay, let me repeat the question. If you would not mind to respond to question 3. In what ways do you believe accountability can drive societal change? Thomas, can you hear me? Or can anyone else hear me? Amos, am I audible?
Hey,
Yeah,
hear
can anyone hear me?
now?
You are breaking. I don't know whether it's just me, but you are breaking.
Hello?
Yes, Thomas, you are breaking.
Hello?
The next,
Okay, Jerry, can you get me now?
yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that question. Accountability. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good. Accountability, I think, is a test. Is a test of both character and integrity. Are you there?
Yes, of course.
Now, there are several ways that accountability can drive societal change. Now, I was discussing with somebody and I said, if you made a promise before election, or you made a promise, or you swore an oath before a public service, we should be able to hold you against your words when you finish your tenure or within your tenure. Now, what am I saying? If you promise to build a dam, we should be holding you accountable for that dam. The question is this: we seem not to hold people accountable. Just like Amos said, people tend to work for themselves. People come into public service and they believe nobody should ask them questions. Accountability is a tool for societal drive. You cannot have a stable society without people accounting for what they have done. Governance is nobody's personal business. You are being given the responsibility to drive growth for a particular set of people, and to whom responsibility is given, you must be accountable. I have been in marketing for more than 12 years. For everything you do, they ask you every day, what have you done today? Have you justified your salary? Now, we should be asking these people, have they justified their trust? Now, but when we have an accountable sector, where NGOs and individuals can come out, criticize and ask questions on what exactly is happening. How are we driving these funds? How are we utilizing these resources to the benefit of these people? That is when the society can have an awareness. Now, accountability is going to give us an awareness of scorecard mindset. Now, politicians will be acting more on target than feudal laws. Because what I see in the Nigerian policy is just feudal laws. So we need to start having scorecards at every level for politicians. That is the only way we now make politics, we no longer become a thing of aristocracy, but something that has to do with socialism, where everybody will be involved in governance. Accountability is going to make every citizen involved in governance, is going to make every citizen a part of the audit process in governance, is going to make the person or the politician or the public office holder that is holding that office to understand clearly that he is on target of delivering good policies for these people and making life better. So what I'm trying to say is accountability is going to do one thing. It's going to drive and change the mindset of our politicians from that Lord, from lording it over the people to servanthood. Just the way we had Yaradua. Yaradua was accountable to the people. Until date, when we mention leaders in Nigeria, we mention Yaradua. Because he was accountable for his actions. So accountability will make these people understand that during your tenure, we are going to criticize you. We are going to understand the kind of person you are. We are going to know who you are. And even integrity index. By redefining the integrity index, it is going to, in furtherance, create a dynamic character reformation for politicians. Because for every action you do, we are seeing it, you are accounting for it immediately. Then you're going to change. Nobody is going to wait for you to do 8 years and then we start criticizing you after 8 years and start saying that man is bad after 8 years. By the time you add 8 years to my son, he's going to be a man. He's going to be a man.
Yeah. Okay. So Thomas, right? I like the line of thought. The flow is quite amazing, right? So just to before I move to Elijah, hoping that his network allows him to speak well, because network is really not very stable. So just to follow up with that, do you think, because from your conversation I see that it is from the earlier background that I laid, you see that the followers have a lot of responsibility in accountability, right? They have to support they need to be accountable for support, and then they need to hold the leaders accountable. So, and then I like the fact that in your conversations you mentioned that we need to hold them accountable and all that. But over time, do you think that now this the question would be like a few branches? Do you think that we have been holding them accountable enough? One. So if it is yes, then how good is it? If it is no, is it because people are not aware that they need to hold these people accountable, or we don't have an enabling environment for accountability? Respond, please.
Oh, thank you very much, Jerry. I like that question. I was just about going to that particular, that particular space.
Oh, great, great.
We have not been holding leaders accountable. I want to blame that on awareness and knowledge of self-worth.
Okay.
We do not have the average Benue citizen. The average Benue citizen does not feel is bigger than a politician. You see somebody with a lot of intellect, and then anybody that just comes in and wins councillorship or wins anything becomes an honorable, and this person assumes he is bigger than that person. Donald Trump is not bigger than everybody in the US. The fact that you are a politician, you are also in a political post, does not make you bigger than every. It might make you a leader, but does not make you a lord.
Okay, all right. I will come back to that. Hold on that. I'll come back to how do we now grow into that self-worth and then understand that somebody getting into an office automatic doesn't mean that you cannot hold them accountable. Hold on to that line of thought. I will come back to that. So let me just take another person briefly. But that was so amazing. Hold on. I'm trying to hold on. Okay. All right. Sorry, I had a network glitch there. I had to sort that. Okay. Right. So let me just let me confirm who is on. Who is on? Okay. Okay. We still have Elijah here. Emma Smith joined us. Welcome, sir. So I'll take Elijah now, and so let's just like push further from Thomas, and so Elijah, let me ask. My question to you is how can individuals and communities hold leaders accountable? Now, taking a cue from Thomas's conversation, how can individuals and communities hold leaders accountable for their actions? Elijah, if you would respond, please.
Thank you so much for this question. I appreciate it. You see, holding leaders accountable is actually a very crucial tool in ensuring that they are able to serve the have said.
Okay.
For me, it bothers me. It bothers me so much whether if the people are even aware or they even know that they are supposed to hold these people, our leaders accountable. But again, there are some ways that are available at our disposal, only if we are aware, for us to be able to exploit in holding our leaders accountable. There is a freedom of information to my constituency for A, B, and C. How far? If me and so many others are aware of this, we can begin to raise some questions, some pertinent questions that this man will say, so these people are even aware. I thought they didn't know. So I will just corner this money and maybe do one shabby thing there and that's all. But by the time he becomes aware that these people are in the know and they are asking pertinent questions, then that is a clear way of one of the ways that individuals can also hold the government accountable or their leaders accountable. Another way also that I feel can be exploited is that of civil society organizations. These are individuals that are working there. And I remember there are some institutions like, what do they call it? SERAP, and socioeconomic and accountability project, SERAP. They are there. We also have Transparency International, and then another CSO like Jeremiah Olai Foundation is there, coming up to take up these issues, and so many others that have been there that we know. We are there to work and be able to reach out to this information that are there that many people do not know through advocacy. By the time these organizations and private individuals are going out to make this advocacy to people, to be able to be aware, by then the issue of accountability will become so known to us, and we can be able to checkmate our people that are in the authority. There is also an independent, what do you call it again? FRA, that is a Fiscal Responsibility Act, that is also meant for us to exploit it. But the question is, most times these laws are there that we are not able to take advantage of them very well. But there are so many of them. There is also independent media. There are some media houses that people use. For instance, all of them. I will not go ahead mentioning names, but people can use this media. There are some investigative journalists that I know that go into seeking some information. This is on their own. Nobody even sent them, but they are aware that something is happening like this, and they can go and make findings and bring it up. So we all have this responsibility of accountability on our hand, and we cannot leave our leaders alone if we cannot help them by holding them accountability. By holding them responsible, they will be relaxed. So it's actually a serious matter that we need to look into it. And thank God we are discussing about it, and I hope that we go further into it and make people aware of it. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Elijah. I like, guys, amazing conversation so far. I like the direction that you went. I like how exhaustive you tried to make the conversation.
Hello, is anybody there?
Yes, Elijah, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me, please? Can anyone hear me? Please confirm if you can hear me. Our network is a bit.
Hello, Elijah.
Okay, can you hear me, Thomas?
Hello.
Yeah, Thomas, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Please confirm if you can hear me. Hello? Yeah, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Elijah.
Yeah, Elijah had finished.
Did justice to.
Yeah, so
are we still here?
Yeah,
I can't hear anybody.
Elijah. Yes, Elijah, can you hear me? I can hear
Hello,
you.
Jerry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Okay, all right, thank you, Thomas. Okay, all right, thank you, Thomas. Okay, so Elijah, thank you for that wonderful conversation. You really did justice to that, and that was a nice one. So we'll go ahead. So and then just to put that together, you really mentioned a lot of things there which are very, very vital, and I am sure that Thomas is also there. We've had some conversations around collaborating with CSOs and some organizations to really, really hold people accountable, do some kind of auditing. Then you also mentioned, like that, you mentioned the freedom of information. I think it was during Goodluck Jonathan that was brought. Some states signed that, so you can see some states. I think Lagos State has need to put some budgeting online. I think just to be transparent, and then some other vital information. Those who have signed that FOI, right? So I think it's something that we can also leverage. So what I get from that is, since people are not aware of these things, I think we have a responsibility to make sure that this information goes out. The fact that people can come together, collaborate for accountability's sake. We can pull all of this, Seraph and the media, investigative journalists, and all of the other organizations together to build a scorecard for Benue State, right? I like the direction that conversation is going. And I think that from the legal perspective, we also have Amos here, Barrister Amos, who can also advise us on what it means to do that, all of the ethical approvals that we might need to make that happen, so that whatever scorecard we bring out is legally binding and it is not in any way kind of breaching any law, so that we don't get to have a wrong face-off with the government, right? But then for the sake of the public, it's something that we need to explore. So Elijah, wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And then it was really, really very, very exhaustive. So yeah, I'll take Amos Smith now. So I would like you to respond to number 7, right? Because Elijah had talked about a lot of the other stuff, and then I think one of the areas is that awareness is not really there. But so if you can combine let me say 7 and 8 together, Amos Smith. What are some barriers to accountability that we currently face in our society? And then how can citizens effectively advocate for accountability in local government? Maybe local governance, maybe now we're talking Nigeria and state. So let's take it to local governance, right? So if you would be kind to respond to 7 and 8 together, Amos Smith, over to you. Amos Smith, did you hear me? Okay, I think he's no longer on the session. Network is pretty bad. So I think we'll go back to Thomas now. Thomas, you made mention of some things. Elijah also kind of there were some cross-cutting ideas, right? So Thomas, my question is, how do we make people aware of all these things, right? So that we do away with the barrier of accountability. How do we make people aware? And how do we advocate for accountability in local governance? Thomas, please.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I think the question you asked is a solution on itself. I was saying something like, how do we make people aware? For you to make people aware, okay, now let's look at what we have here. We have a situation, we have a discussion, right, that borders on Benue. We have a discussion that borders on the Benue, I call it the state. And look at the participation. How many people can log in on Facebook? How many people are there with us right now? This is a program that is so pertinent to the progress of the state and was like, advertised, per se, for more than 3-4 days. In fact, but look at the participation here. How many people are here? How many people are listening? Yes. And how many people would listen when you post it on your Facebook? Right? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So when you look at the ratio of the people that are on this call right now, and they know the population of the people that need transformation, you can now see we have a problem. We have a problem. But right now, as I'm talking to you, I can guarantee you that we have more than 200,000 Benue youths on TikTok. We have more than 1 million on Facebook. Right? Can you get me clear? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
Thomas.
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Thomas.
Very well. Very well. Very well. But we have just, I'm looking at the guest list, and I have just one person that is not a panelist here. Now the question is, how do we drive transformation without proper decimation of information? We need to go down to town halls. We need to start holding independent town hall meetings. We would need to source for funds. We would need to go down to the locals and make the people understand that this is a mortgage. It is either they mortgage their lives or the lives of their children. If their lives do not mean anything to them, what about the children they are bringing with so much love? They are mortgaging the it has to come to a point where we have to go to the government and hold town hall meetings independent of the local government and tell them exactly what they need to do.
I don't know whether it's my network.
It is time we go to the local TV stations and hold industry. And I want to tell you that fraud occurred in Benue State in such a way that